everybody. Good evening and welcome to the show. Our show is Spiritual Exploration. We are here tonight to talk about animal rights. Quite a few years ago, from 1985 to 1993, my very good friend Frank Dudley and I had co-founded and ran an animal organization here on Staten Island called Staten Island People Against Animal Cruelty, otherwise known as SIPAC. We ran the organization for 8 years, and then we couldn't do it anymore, and we had to give it up, and we're very grateful that there have been others who have taken up the job of fighting for animal rights that we had to leave off back then. I have here with me tonight a group of women who are very dedicated to animal rights, which I find is, and I feel is a very, very spiritual thing to do, is to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The group of girls that I have here with me are called themselves Team Charlotte. Charlotte because of a little dog who was abused and who is now in hopefully good hands, who has survived these abuses, and we're going to go into that in a little bit. But first, I would like to individually introduce these wonderful ladies who are taking up the cause. First, to my left is Marissa Arciprete. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Arciprete.
Arciprete. You're close.
We said before, it's a difficult name, I'm
It's
sorry.
hard.
Okay, next would be Lauren Buglino, Jennifer Crinion, Liz Raab, Carla Murino, and Karla Giasi. Welcome, ladies, and God bless you all for what you are doing for animals today.
Thank you.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And we have a little audience applause there, thank you. We're here to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about little Charlotte because she is the reason that I wound up deciding to do a show about animal rights. It's probably long overdue because I have been doing my show for 15 years. And, but I guess it came up now because now is when it was supposed to come up. Little Charlotte was a dog, is a dog, thank God, she still is. And she was abused by her owner, and we're going to go into that because her owner is presently being taken to task for her abusive actions toward this poor little creature. She took the dog, she abused it to the point where it was very in bad shape. She took it to a veterinarian, she didn't want to pay, so the veterinarian told her that the dog needed medical attention, and she took the dog, put it in a bag, threw it out the window, and that was it. Until some good Samaritans came along, saw that the bag was moving and something inside it was whimpering, took the dog, and as it turned out, to the same veterinarian that the woman had just left. The veterinarian saw that the dog had been abused, had all her information, and I guess called up humane law enforcement. She was arrested, and she is presently going to court to, she thinks this, her words were, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's only a dog, correct? Yeah. That is horrible. I want to tell you something. God gave us dominion over animals. That does not mean we're allowed to abuse them. It means we're supposed to take care of them. It means we're supposed to give them a good life. We're supposed to take care of their needs. They need to eat. They need medical attention. They need shelter. And God gave us that job. And anybody who can abuse an animal, God will get you. I'm telling you right now, so just watch out. We showed little Charlotte's picture. You have more pictures, Marissa?
I do.
And we're going to show you some more pictures. And it's not going to be anything that you're not going to be able to handle, but there's a picture here. And there's the woman who did the abusing of this poor little animal. She is supposedly a model from Russia. Very pretty on the outside, ugly on the inside. And she deserves to be put in jail for what she did. And now it's my understanding that she went and bought another dog and she wasn't supposed to, but her in-laws supposedly have this other dog now because she's not allowed to have one at the moment. And let's hope she never is allowed to have another animal because she has no appreciation for these poor little creatures. Now, you're planning, she's going to trial. The next date that she is scheduled to be at, what is it, criminal court?
Supreme Court.
Which one?
Supreme.
Supreme Court. And where, which, on what, where is it located?
It's actually on, I have the flyer right here. It's in, I don't know if you can see this, but it's on Richmond Terrace. It's scheduled for January 13th.
On Richmond Terrace near the ferry?
Right.
The Supreme Court
Right across the street.
building, which is 18 Richmond Terrace? Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
Yeah. This is actually the,
whenever she goes to court, Team Charlotte has a lot of people who will show up to protest, to let the people in the courts know that we feel that the laws should be stricter for people who do things such as this woman has done. So I invite anybody who's available on January 13th, what was it, in the morning, 9 o'clock, something like that?
we get there around 7:30 to start protesting, to make
Okay.
sure the judge sees us and.
So they get there around 7:30. If anyone would like to go to the Supreme Court on January 13th, 2015, and help protest the fact that this woman is a person who's cruel to animals. It's a good idea to let the people know, let the judges know that we expect people who do these things to get a strict sentence. Because it's my understanding that in New York right now, the animal abuse is a felony, and it can be punished from like what, 1 to 3 years?
2
something
years.
like-
2 years max.
2 years max? Should be a lot more than that, and that's another
Yeah.
thing we're gonna talk about. Because we would like to see that changed. We would like to see more time given to people who would dare lay a hand on an animal, or neglect an animal, abuse an animal, abandon an animal. All of this is cruelty, and it is something that should not be tolerated by anyone. If anyone would like to add anything to all of that, feel free. We have, let's see now, who's the person that's working on the law?
Actually, we all are.
You
but
all are.
I'm the most involved in that at this point in time.
Well, I remember years ago when myself and my friend Frank Dudley were active. We were trying to help a then animal shelter here on Staten Island called Pet Junction, run by a wonderful woman who just passed away too soon. She passed at the tender age of 48 in 1986, just when we were getting a certain law changed. And at the time, we were trying to get the city to give her some money for her animal shelter. And we were told that because the law was as it was, they couldn't give her any money. And we said, well, what was the law? And the law was that the ASPCA was the only animal control organization that could collect funding from the powers that be. So it took us 2 years, but we went and we took care of that. We had to go, first we had to go to the city council and testify. And after testifying to the city council, they sent what they called a home rule message to Albany, to the Assembly and the Senate. And thank God, both the Assembly and the Senate passed the law. And now, and since then, actually, since the end of 1986, any 501c3 organization dealing with animal rights, animal control, whatever, may apply for and receive funding to help run their organization and to help animals. We had, at the time, were able to receive some funding from the then borough president for a couple of years, and then we just had to give everything up because it was too much politics, too much this, too much that. And then that's when they came up with the organization that now takes care of strays and whatnot on Staten Island called CAC. So what have you been doing so far to try to get this law?
Well, unfortunately, right now, the legislative session is over. So we do have to wait till January. That's when bills will be reintroduced and the new legislative session begins. At this point in time, Buster's Law, which was the felony in New York, was introduced and passed in 1999. So it's been a felony for certain abuses, not all abuses, but intentional abuse such as this one, allegedly. It was a felony since 1999. It is my understanding that they have strengthened the law, Buster's Law, who incidentally was a kitty. Wasn't a
cat?
dog, it was a cat.
Really?
Yes.
No, you say Busty, you think of a dog.
Right, no, it was a kitty. And they have strengthened it a few times as far as tighten up different punishments and you know, requirements and standards of care. However, it's still just not enough.
No.
The point of, you know, having more prison time is because you want it to be a deterrent.
Exactly.
We want to save lives.
I want people to think twice
That's
about
right.
doing anything, actually.
Yes.
Prison is a deterrent for any crime.
And, you know, laws and punishments with a bite, as
That's
I
right.
like to refer to them, will save lives. It will.
That's a cute pun.
And when we look at the big picture, I think we can do a lot. At the same time, when our group did meet, we decided that we would like to help get the statewide registry passed. It's been around for quite some time now. It's an animal registry so that if you are convicted of animal cruelty, your name will go onto a list. And then
That's a
a
good
shelter or a
idea.
pound cannot adopt an animal to you.
Right, right.
It's failed 3 times. So 2015 is definitely the year we have to get this passed.
Let's hope.
I hope so. And we, you know, after we read the bills, we might want to tweak them somewhat. For instance, in Charlotte's case with the alleged abuser, she went to a pet shop, it's my understanding, to buy a dog. So I don't think having a statewide abuse registry that's specific to just shelters and pounds is going to be enough.
It has to include pet shops.
And I'd like to see rescues included.
Yes.
And even breeders.
Yes, yes.
So we have to cut off all outlets because
You're
we don't
absolutely
want them to abuse again.
Got to cover all bases.
Yes.
I'd like to see it be public, but I know that's really far down the road. But, you know, kind of like a, I don't know, like the
Like
child
giving
sex
somebody
offenders, that you
yeah.
could just publicly
Give
search
them
them.
a public flogging.
Right.
Yeah. yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
know,
I
you
think
wanna-
Marissa's referring to like how they have, you know,
Like a sex
pedophile
offender.
lists and sex offenders and how you
Right.
can
Right.
look them up
Right.
and
In your
neighborhood.
see
You
if
don't
you
want an
live in
animal
your
abuser in your
area.
neighborhood.
I mean,
That's
it's
right.
very important that everyone understands that if these abusers, I mean, they are predators. And if they are capable of doing this to an animal, they most definitely are capable of doing this to a human.
Well, they say that serial killers start out on animals.
Yes,
They
they
do.
do.
And then they graduate to humans. So if we were to stop them at the animals, then maybe some human beings won't lose their lives unnecessarily as well.
I couldn't agree more.
Agree.
Yeah,
All of
I'm
us.
sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, the statistics on domestic violence, it's staggering how over 70% of abused women go into shelters, and animal abuse was part of that issue.
Oh, I'm sure.
it was
People
used
will
as
take out things
coercion.
on people's animals because you love that animal, well, I'm gonna do something. You know, and that's wrong. And anybody that could do that, anything to an animal deserves the same thing done to them, in my book, because there's no excuse for it. These animals are innocent. They are, and especially, you know, I mean, I personally am even against breeding because somewhere between 2 and 4 million dogs a year in this country alone get put down only because they're not wanted, okay? And then you have, I mean, what's wrong with this picture? Then you have the breeders bringing more of them into the world. 1/3 of the animals in shelters are pedigrees. So why do you have to go to a breeder? Go to a shelter. Maybe the animal's a little bit older, but you got to have a pedigree. You got to have something little. You got to have this. You got to have that. First, try the shelters. You know that Overstock.com is adopting out animals. Yeah, you can go to Overstock.com, and they have rescue animals that they're finding homes for.
Another thing I'd like to add, as long as you brought that up, is it's imperative to spay and neuter.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely.
that's is what's going
Oh,
to
yes.
stop it.
That
and
is it.
don't buy from a pet store because
Right.
they are from a puppy mill.
That's right.
And
And
the
a lot of
only way
times they're
to
sick.
dry up the puppy mills is to stop the demand,
That's
not to
right.
regulate them.
That's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
pet store is out.
Well,
Spay and neuter is a must.
There's such a stigma still with people about going to a rescue to shop. You know, as we say, adopt, don't shop. And there's a stigma about it. There are such magnificent animals in rescues that you could only be so lucky to find one. That, you know, people say, no, I want to purchase one, I want to go to a breeder. Well,
No.
now 1/3 of, purebreds are in rescues.
They are in rescues, absolutely. Yeah, they're in rescues.
And those
they're in
rescue animals
shelters.
know they're being saved.
And adding
That's
to that,
right.
though, there are a lot of breed-specific rescues. Like you could find a Maltese rescue, you could find a pug rescue, you could find any dog you want.
And you
through
know
a
what you
rescue.
do as far as finding a rescue, that if you want a specific breed of animal, is you go to what is that club, for the pedigrees?
AKC.
Oh, AKC, yeah.
American
Couldn't
Kennel
remember the
Club.
one. You go, yeah, you can call the American Kennel Club, and they will give you, you tell them, say you want a German Shepherd. They'll give you German Shepherd rescues, and they'll give you the numbers all over the country of people who rescue German Shepherds, or Pit Bulls, or Bichons, or whatever you want.
Right.
There is a rescue out there for that breed. And if that's what you want, you can call the AKC. They will connect you with people who rescue these breeds, and you can adopt that way.
You could even go on Pet Finder and just type in what breed you want, and it'll come up all the different shelters and
Okay.
rescues that.
Well, in
Yeah,
all
there's plenty
honesty,
of
though,
options.
myself especially, I'm not anti-reputable breeder. I'm sorry to say that, but I have to say it. I mean, I work on laws and punishments, and, we don't want to exclude them if they're reputable. If it is a puppy mill, that's not a breeder, I'm
that's right,
sorry.
that's not a breeder.
That's a farm, but there are plenty of breeders that also take in their breed and rescue.
Oh, yeah.
So they
I
do
knew-
a lot, and I think the most important thing is to spay and neuter, be a responsible owner, know what it costs, don't take on more than you can chew.
Oh, yeah, and know
And
what
there
you
is
have to
help
do,
out
right.
there if you do
And
get in
don't take
trouble.
an
Yes,
animal if you can't
that's
take
very
care of it. If
important.
you're going to be away from the house 13 hours a day, don't leave a poor
No.
animal alone like that,
No.
I knew a woman years ago when I had the organization, and she started out breeding German Shepherds, and this is, I'm talking about 40, 50 years ago, okay? She was breeding German Shepherds, and then when they started showing up at her front door as strays, she took her $2,000 stud and had him neutered, and that was the end of her breeding.
Good.
She wouldn't do it anymore because she says if I'm not gonna be putting animals out there to suffer.
Right.
Most reputable breeders, incidentally, do take their animals back.
Yeah.
So if you do go to a breeder, that should be one of your questions.
Right.
Do you take your animal back? Like, let's say, God forbid, I'm on borrowed time and I have no one to take my animal.
Right.
Any reputable breeder will take
take
the
it back
animal
and
back.
re-adopt it or
And there
something.
are other options besides a pound. I mean, even if you have a mixed breed, you need to reach out to rescues. You need to reach out to everyone and anyone. Do not just abandon the animal.
No, well,
or-
abandonment is cruelty.
It's cruelty,
That's
yes,
under
it
the
is.
same subject there.
And I was going to say that with rescues, it's a stipulation too. Like if you can't care for the dog, they want them back. You can't just give them
Yes.
away to anybody. You know, that's one of the requirements when you qualify for
Well,
rescue.
when
to
I had the
adopt.
organization, I had a very long questionnaire, interviewed people and asked all kinds of questions to get an idea of what kind of a pet owner they were going to be.
Right.
And if I didn't like something I heard, they didn't get an animal, period.
No.
I work with the rescue that they joke, they say it's easier to get a mortgage than to get a dog from them because they're really strict, and you have to be because you never know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's
You know,
absolutely
you have to be
right.
careful.
You don't know what people's intentions are. And people, unfortunately, look at animals as things, and they're not things. They have feelings. They hurt. They feel love. They feel embarrassment. They feel everything.
emotions.
They feel
all the
pain.
emotions.
Right.
They feel pain.
They feel
They
pain.
feel fear.
Whether it's fear, whether it's physical pain or mental anguish, they feel it. People don't realize that.
And they
And they
can't
get
take themselves
lonely.
to a doctor or a
No,
hospital.
and they
yeah.
can't tell you what's wrong, although I did hear a story once about a dog. And he had an ear infection or something, and his owner took him to the veterinarian and got it treated, and then that was it. Then the dog disappears, okay? Reappears at the veterinarian's office because the ear infection came back and he went back to the doctor himself. And the woman couldn't find the dog, and then the vet goes, "Oh, your dog is here, you know."
Smart guy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
If I might add to the whole spay neuter thing, the ASPCA actually has a wonderful program.
Oh, yes.
A spay neuter program, and you could actually get the spay or neuter done at a discounted price.
Very, very
They have a van that
discounted.
comes around in front of, you know, in the local areas within the 5 boroughs. And, you know, if you go to a vet, it can cost anywhere from $250 to $600 to get done. Between them, you get a significant decrease in price.
Significant is true. There are people who, first of all, I know that the ASPCA does have, on Staten Island, they have a clinic, and I've been to it, where they spay and neuter mostly strays at this church. I don't forget the name of the church, but it's on Franklin Avenue, near Richmond Terrace on Staten Island. And in the back of where the parking lot is, they have a clinic that, I don't know what days they're there and all that, but it's very, very inexpensive. It doesn't cost hardly anything if you go to the right place. And some veterinarians also, if you tell them you want the Friends of Animals price, or the Have a Heart price or whatever, they will do it for you. So there's no excuse for not spaying and neutering your pets.
Well, and some men thinks that,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
right.
the men have that whole macho thing
Yeah.
going. It does not change the boy. He's still a man, he's
That's
still a
right.
dog.
Yeah.
And it adds years to their lives.
Yeah, I was just going to
That's
say they
true,
live
because
longer.
male dogs don't get testicular cancer because they don't have testicles to get cancer in anymore. And you know, they're much calmer animal and probably a lot happier because they don't
Well, they're not
have,
on the hunt.
right, they don't have that
They're not
that
getting turned
urge
down.
and that pressure on them, you know? So, and then, and the same thing with females, when they're spayed. They won't get uterine cancer, they won't get certain cancers. So that there's a lot of things you won't have to deal with the animal later on in life if you do the right thing to begin with. And they should be done before they're 3 years old, so that they're in a much, they're physically much better off and in a much better state than they can handle the operation, you know? But no,
Although they can have puppies as early as their first heat, which is usually
6
about
months.
6 months.
I
yeah,
was gonna
right.
say at least 6
So
months wait.
depending on the breed and your veterinarian, that's
Exactly.
a personal choice. I mean, if you had a male at the same time, same age, they're both not fixed, not a good idea.
That's right, not a good idea. And you know, who needs to have a litter of puppies that you have to worry about, or kittens, that you have to worry about, who am I gonna find homes for now? I don't wanna just turn them over to a shelter. I don't wanna do this, I don't wanna do that. I mean, save yourself the trouble.
And the
In the
finances.
long run, you're saving money, if money is the issue. In the long run, you're gonna wind up spending more money if you have to feed a bunch of puppies or kittens until you find homes for them.
And also, by spaying and neutering your animals, that opens up room in rescues and in shelters.
That's
For
right.
the animals that, you know,
They say that
Are out
every
there.
puppy or kitten that is born, one has to go down in a shelter because it's taking up that space.
Yep.
And
You
no
know.
matter what, there's only so many homes.
And
So,
there's,
yes.
yeah, there's only so many homes. Thank God for the people that will take on multiple animals, you know, and that give them a good home. Because, you know, and thank God, I really feel that most people like animals, at least, and a lot of them love animals. You know, I don't think there's too many haters out there. I think that the ones that would be abusive are in the minority, and I hope to God that I'm right about that.
Well, Gandhi once said that the greatness of a nation can be measured by the way it treats their animals.
Did he say that?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Gandhi.
And my opinion
Really?
right now is that we are going down the tubes as a society. Either it's from the technology that, you know, of social media, that we could see anything at any time now, or is it really an epidemic of all this animal abuse? But it's either on the rise or we're just able to see it more.
I think where it's more prevalent, and not prevalent in that it's on the rise. What I mean is, I think that because of technology, a lot of things come more to the forefront than they ever did before.
Social media.
Yeah.
But with all this technology, I think now is the time that we also can tighten up our laws.
That's right.
And really make a stand, because this is not acceptable. Any abuse to a being, a living being, is not acceptable. Whether it's a child, an animal, a human, it's not acceptable. This
That's right.
intent, this intentional harm is not acceptable.
Well, I'll tell you, some people think that because they can hurt an animal or another person, or they can intimidate or whatever, makes them a big person. Oh, I'm
Right.
strong. But no, it doesn't. It makes you a coward. That's all it does, because if you can abuse something that can't fight back, that can't defend itself, then you're not a great person for doing that. You're a coward. Nothing but a low-down snake in the grass. Excuse me, snakes, but.
And and most times where there is this kind of violent abuse towards an animal, I'm going to take that bet that there's another kind of abuse or crime that will go hand in hand with it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's too much money in dog fighting.
That too. Oh my God, that Michael Vicks, I could take him and put him through a war.
When a professional ball player risks giving up his NFL career to fight dogs,
Right.
there's too much money involved.
And has no
And he didn't
remorse.
spend enough time in jail either. What was he in jail, maybe a year or so,
But he's still
18
playing
months?
He still plays football. He
And he's
has
still playing
endorsements.
football.
Yeah.
All right, he shouldn't be doing that, but
No.
thank God he had to put up $1 million to take care of those dogs for the rest of their lives, so they're in a good place because they're being cared for, and it's his money that's doing it. Thank God for that, because,
what-
and that,
But then what does it say to
Right.
us or our legal system where money crimes, let's say, money crimes, stock frauds, something like that, we're getting big time, people are getting big time, big jail time for that. And
and not enough
abuse,
of,
physical abuse,
Right.
they're not getting enough time.
right.
So what's
It
more
doesn't say a
important?
lot
It all
for our
circles
system.
around that
Doesn't say a lot for our
almighty
legal
dollar.
Teaches you that money
system.
could buy your way out of pretty much anything.
Yeah. It's correct.
But it is changing. Let's be hopeful.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
we're coming up on a new legislative session. It's very important to anyone who cares. You need to call, write, visit. Very important. Your assemblyman and also your senator. And that's for New York State, not the other senators, not the other.
Right.
It has to
And
be the
you'll
state.
find all their numbers in the phone book. In the beginning of the phone book, they have all the state legislators and all that kind of stuff in the phone book. Definitely get on their case, because you know what? We are their constituents, and we vote for them. And when we tell them we want this, they better listen. And that's why it's important to get animal rights people in great numbers and get everybody to join together and be a voice in unison for these animals who can't speak for themselves.
We actually have a public Facebook page, And if I can find my picture here. And we have a list of all local politicians that you can write to. This is actually our local, our public page. And we have a sample letter that you can tweak. You could use it. You could write, you know, it tells you everyone you can write to just to, you know, try to convince them to make animal cruelty laws a little bit stricter.
So if they want to go to Facebook to get this information,
Yeah, it's a public page. Anybody can join.
where they go
We
to
have a file.
Team Charlotte?
It's actually called the Justice for Charlotte Foundation, and it's just trying to strengthen animal cruelty laws. So we have a bunch of tips on here of who you can contact, what you can say, stuff like that. And Lauren actually wrote a petition, which has quite a few signatures on it.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a petition that I started, basically taking this local story, which, you know, it happened on Staten Island, and turning it into a national story and creating this awareness nationally. And it actually went to global levels as well.
Good. Well, it will be when it goes on Facebook
Right.
also, because my show is on Facebook. All my shows go to Facebook, and this one will definitely be on at Facebook. And as I said, I've been watched in 201 countries, so hopefully our message tonight will be
Right.
go all over the world.
And the petition is calling for maximum punishment for Charlotte, the dog's alleged abuser. And we currently have almost 250,000 signatures.
Whoa! Now if that doesn't do
Yeah.
it,
And once we get closer to the rally, I've already sent this petition to the Staten Island District Attorney a few months ago when it only had about 5,000 signatures. We're going to be sending it again as it gets closer to the rally date. It's going to be a lot more copies at
Donovan?
Yeah.
Staples.
and because is he prosecuting this case?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So by then we hope to have, you know, around 250,000 signatures, a lot of sheets of paper.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So everybody needs to get on and
Unfortunately,
Right.
a lot of
Sign that
trees have to go
petition.
down for this, but you know what the heck.
So it basically, this petition did go viral. And when this case first happened, and I became part of the Justice for Charlotte Facebook page, they were doing petitions. So I said, let's take something, let's just have one petition, have it circulating online, and try to get as many signatures as we can to send a message and to create an awareness, as well as being the voice for Charlotte now, as well as a voice for other animals down the line. And the petition can be found at change.org/Justice for Charlotte.
Change.org/Justice for Charlotte, and people can sign the petition?
Right online.
Right online? Is that where you got most of your signatures like that?
They're all from online.
Really?
And
Now, how do you verify
Right.
all these signatures?
the person who signs it has to put in their information.
Like their
so
address and
their
all that?
address, where they're from. And when I look through the signatures, we had signatures, of course, from New York City, many signatures from New York City, but as far as Japan and Australia. So people are aware of this.
Good. All right.
It's quite impressive.
So
and
you know
it's-
what? This is going to be a worldwide movement. We might even have some people out there, you know, pouncing on people when they catch them themselves doing things. You know, which would be a good thing, because then people will come to the conclusion you never know who's watching.
or taping you with their camera phone.
So now tell us again, where do people go to add their signature?
It's change.org/Justice for Charlotte.
Change.org/Justice for Charlotte. Go there, add your signature to the petition so that people who are cruel to animals will pay for it.
And Marissa, why don't you tell Christine about the in-person petition?
We do. We have an in-person petition as well for all residents of New York State.
Do you have it with you?
I don't.
Oh, because we
But you can go on
got a whole
here.
bunch of people
I
signing
know.
here.
We should have brought it. We actually, when this first happened, we were going to local dog parks and just, you know, shopping plazas and just, you know, telling people Charlotte's story and getting petitions. And we mailed them all into the DA. And I heard through the grapevine that the ADA she's a huge animal lover, and she was really impressed about all the in-person signatures. So we're kind of hoping to get a lot more.
So what will the DA be able to do with all of these signatures now? Give them to the judge and say, here, judge, all these people all over the world want to see this woman pay for her
Yeah.
act?
And we're asking
Exactly.
for 2 years imprisonment. That's what the petition is asking for, which
Both
is
of
the
them.
maximum punishment in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So in other words, no plea deal.
no plea deal.
Right, no plea deal.
I mean,
Now-
we kind of want to make an example out of this alleged abuser and just say, you know, enough is enough. We're
Set
kind
a
of, we're sick of,
precedent.
yeah, we're just, you know, she could be like the Martha Stewart of animal cruelty. And, you know, we want to make an example of her. She had no remorse. You know, she got arrested. She allegedly said,
Not only
you
she
know,
had
it's
no
just a
remorse,
dog.
She said it's only a dog.
It's just a
And
dog.
Not
It's
only
a
did she
misdemeanor.
say it's only a dog, she
Allegedly.
said, hit me with a misdemeanor.
So I can go
So she
home.
knows the
So
law.
I can go home.
It's just a dog. Give
Oh,
me my
yeah?
misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Let me
We'll
get
see
out of
about
here.
that.
Okay.
And I mean, we go to court. We're there every single court date, and she has zero remorse.
How
she
many,
just
how many court dates has she had so far?
two.
Two. And now, so January 13th is number 3 coming up.
Number 3.
And what happened at the other 2?
Carla can tell you about that.
Well, she was arrested, arraigned, then she came back to, I guess, put in on file that there will be a grand jury, and the grand jury found that this was indeed a crime,
So they indicted her?
so they indicted her. So
Good.
once the indictment came down, that felony now goes over to Supreme Court. So left criminal court to go to Supreme Court.
Oh, so now it's going to a different court.
Yes.
Okay, so then you haven't
Supreme
been
Court
to
only
Supreme
deals
Court
with
yet.
indictments.
I see. So being an indictment, then there's no chance it's going to be a misdemeanor.
No.
She's
it's
not gonna
felon-
get a
no, this is
slap on
felony.
It got
Yes.
upgraded to a felony now, yeah.
Yes.
Since it
Yes,
got
indeed.
upgraded, then she's going to get something.
We can
Now-
only press our district attorney
Yes, to make
and
sure.
stress to that office that we won't take less, that we need for him to be the voice of not only Charlotte, but of
people.
all
Make an
all
example
animals.
of this woman.
It's,
Right.
she chose to be the face of animal cruelty,
Yeah.
and we need for that office to be that dog's gladiator.
So now, she is supposedly, I understand, a model.
I don't know about
Allegedly.
that.
I mean,
She
I
might
would
think she
say,
is.
let's find
I was
out.
gonna say, for
Let's
what?
find out who she works for. If she's a model and she's modeling clothing, find out who the clothing line is, and then put out a big thing about boycotting that line of clothing until they get rid of her.
We don't really know much about her, but we do know, we think we know. I don't think she works at all, so.
Then what does she do for,
Well,
We don't
can't
know.
say.
We can't
We
really
have
speculate.
ideas, but we can't say.
oh, she might be doing something else illegal, huh?
Yeah, we don't know.
Like
But,
I said, usually, it goes hand in hand.
Uh-huh, okay. All right, well, we can't say without getting
No,
ourselves
we
in
have
trouble.
no proof.
Yeah, we
But
don't know. This is
there's no
just
proof.
speculation, yeah.
But, you know, sometimes you just put the idea out there.
It's a small island, though. We hear
It's a
stories.
small island, is right. Yes, that's true.
Now, the other thing we're going to do with the signatures and also the in-person signatures is also provide them to the assemblymen and the senators. So it's multifold. It's not just for the
Oh,
prosecutor.
well, that's good,
Not
because
just for the
those are
judge.
the people that you're gonna need to change the law.
Yes.
So once they see all these signatures, then,
I think they'll be impressed.
250,000 signatures?
And that's only online.
And that's
Right.
only
Now we
online.
have all the in-person signatures as well.
Well, like I was saying before, I think most people are against animal cruelty. I think most people do at least like animals, or at the very least, I mean, I've got friends that say, oh, I wouldn't take a pet, I don't really like animals, but I wouldn't hurt one.
Right.
And that's the only thing you can really expect from somebody if all right, you're not a pet lover, but you wouldn't hurt one, that's good.
You know what else is very sad? New York was one of the first states in the country to have animal cruelty laws, and yet now we're rated somewhere at like 35th by major organizations. You know, where is our pride, New York? I mean, since when are we 35th?
In
It's
anything,
terrible in
right.
anything. I mean, we used to be leading the pack, not at the bottom of the pack. So it's time to change that. This is enough.
That's right, enough is enough. That's true. And I really, really feel that God is watching. I know it. My mother used to say to me, don't ever be cruel to an animal because those are God's creatures and he will get you. And I said, Ma, you're not telling the right person. Go tell somebody else that. You know me. you know? I would never, ever harm an animal, at least not on purpose, you know what I
No.
It
mean?
speaks to your core values. It's just,
Exactly, and it's the way I was brought up.
where's the compassion? Just basic compassion for
That's it.
for someone else, something else.
That has feelings, that has emotions, that can hurt, and that can feel good even, can feel happy, can feel love under the right circumstances.
I mean, we say it's man's best friend.
That's right.
We should treat them like that,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
Well, it is also proven when you pet them that your blood pressure lowers.
That's true. They
So,
are good
I
for
mean,
your health.
it's good for your health.
They are.
They're
They
also
say
really
that.
good for
If
special
you're
needs.
petting a dog or a cat, that's probably because your mind is not worried about, oh, this and that. You're just enjoying the moment that you're making an animal feel good,
Yes.
you know?
And
in
you live
return, they
longer.
do
to
the
Oh,
see
yes, that's
pets.
right. You live longer.
live
So
longer.
being kind to animals lengthens your life.
Although I feel my dog sometimes raises my blood pressure. Not for nothing.
Well, there are those that do, I guess.
Also good for exercise.
Yeah.
You know, if
take
you
me
need
out
a
on a
nice walking buddy, or you want to play ball or
Frisbee or something.
frisbee, anything, they're also good, I mean, to meet other people. I attend a lot of dog events, and
Oh, sure.
I meet great people.
Oh, sure.
Animal people
You have
rock.
an animal with you, you'll have people coming up and talking to
Yeah,
you. You'll
that
never
is
be
true.
lonely with an animal.
You know what's funny? When my mom thinks I'm crazy because when I go out and someone has a dog, I'm like, oh my God, I love you. And then I see
know.
baby, I'm like, oh. But I just love animals. I mean, nothing
I
against
know, I do the
babies,
same
but
thing.
it's just you can't help it.
I know, well, it's true. Not for nothing, but I think that puppies are cuter than babies.
Not
Sometimes.
only that, they don't ask to borrow the car.
They don't talk. They don't talk back.
They don't talk back, they don't cost you for college and all kinds of other, their education, their food, their
And they're always
clothes, their
happy to see
designer
you.
clothes.
Right.
Then they're always, that's right.
Always.
You know, I never really cared for Fabio too much over the years, okay? Until I read in a magazine, he had, at the time, it's a while ago, so I don't know what he's doing now, but he had like 6 dogs at the time, and his comment was, I go home after being away at work all day or wherever he's got to go for a couple of days or whatever. He says, and the most wonderful thing is that my dogs greet me so much, so well. He says it's better than having a wife, because a wife is not going to greet you the way these dogs greet you. The way a wife is not going to get all excited every time you come through the door as if they hadn't seen you in a while, you know. He says I'd rather have my dogs, and it showed him with his 6 dogs.
And now you have a new crush.
And after that, I had a much better impression of Fabio, and now I like him. I just thought he was all stuck up and everything, you know?
That says a lot.
So anyway, do you have any more pictures that you wanted to show?
Well, yes, I have some pictures from our first rally in September.
Oh, okay,
This is the
good,
first
sure.
one. It was funny because it happened so quick. Charlotte was found. Within a week, they arrested her alleged abuser. And over that weekend, somehow we got over 100 people to show up at this rally. All people I never met. I only knew maybe 2 people there. And it really shows how Staten Island came together, and not just Staten Island, but Queens, upstate, Jersey. I mean, there was people from everywhere. And we had about over 100 people, so that was really nice. And this is our second rally. The last one, I don't know what camera we're on.
Well, I invite my audience to show up at the Supreme Court on January 13th, 2015, and join us so that we can really, really, really put the message of no more animal cruelty out there, because it's necessary for us to unite and come together and show our legislators and our DA and the judges and everybody that we're not going to tolerate this stuff. We don't want people doing these things, and they're the ones that are going to have to do something to stop it.
Right. And this is Charlotte then and now. She's obviously much better now, and
Look at that poor little
Adopted.
thing.
yeah, she was.
But we can't let
camera on.
all the pain that she went through be in vain.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
And Charlotte won't be the last.
No.
And I mean, it started with Charlotte, but
Unfortunately.
we're fighting for all dogs. We're fighting for the pit bulls that get abused or, have to be forced to fight, and the big dogs, the little dogs, the dogs that are thrown out of cars, it's, and
Companion
cats.
animals.
All companion
All
animals.
companion animals.
All companion animals, that's right. And, animals that are just your pets, animals that are there to help you, that serve you. I mean, look at what dogs can do. I mean, they help. There are dogs that, if you're prone to seizures, will be able to tell you before you have one and give you warnings so that you'll get down on the ground so that you don't hit your head on something.
Cancer too. They detect cancer.
They detect
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
There are animals who I saw a dog that on TV the other day that and this young man who has this dog was like really in bad shape until this dog came along. Now the dog goes in the refrigerator and gets him a soda, answers the door, picks up the telephone for him, everything.
Children with learning disabilities, now a lot of them are reading to animals, and it's
And
improving
autism.
them
And
tremendously.
even
yeah.
Alzheimer's.
They're also
Autism.
bringing them
Right.
to court
Alzheimer's, people
to
are-
soothe victims.
Yeah.
So now they are also allowed in a
They
courtroom.
are very valuable to us humans, and people should not be abusing them and mistreating them because we need them.
We kind of get into the conversation, although you haven't said much.
I know.
Huh?
Oh, actually, Carla wants to talk about, we're, in honor of Charlotte, we're having a holiday toy drive for homeless animals to benefit some local rescues. Here's our flyer, and Carla actually wants to give some info about that.
So on December 21st, we're going to, as she said, it's a toy drive / wish drive for some local rescues, including SNAR, who had Charlotte. It's at Bow Wow Wow, 3812 Victory Boulevard by Mother Moose. We're going to have pictures with Santa, selfies with Santa for the animals, for the children. We're going to have refreshments, some sweets that were donated by local businesses.
This will be December 21st, now, right next to Mother Moose is Bow Wow Wow, you said?
No, it's by
It's
Mother.
across the street.
It's by Mother Moose.
Is that the Staten Island Council for Animal Welfare's, they have like a little shelter or something around there?
I-
Boulevard?
Not that I know
Oh, Staten Island
of.
Council doesn't have anything to do with that?
No, I think Staten Island Council is down by veterans.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
No,
Yeah.
that's CAC.
Oh,
Yeah, there. I know, I thought that Staten Island Council had some kind of a little shelter thing going on around that area. But it's called
does
Bow Wow
anybody
Wow,
know?
and it's
Bow Wow
across-
Wow, yes, it's
Across the
also
street
a
from Mother Moose,
grooming.
December 21st. And
From
and
2 to
what-
6.
From 2 to 6, and what would people bring, doggy toys or something, or?
Yeah.
wee pads, paper towels.
Bleach.
Bleach, gently used
Harnesses.
collars, harnesses,
Oh, I got a
toys, treats, of course, closed, food, like, I'm getting very nervous, I can't do this.
It's okay, it's okay. We actually have a Facebook page that has all the information on it. It's, I don't actually have it, but here is the information, and if you want to find us on Facebook, you can go to that public page that we have. It's just called, Justice for Charlotte Foundation, and all the information is here. If you just Google, Justice for Charlotte on Facebook, Holiday Toy Drive, it'll come up as well.
And it can be something new or something gently used.
Right, yeah. Or, and if you can't make it and you just want to donate something, you could always just email us at justiceforcharlotte123 @gmail.com, and I can give you direct information on how to donate directly as well.
Monetary gifts as well to help with
Monetary
the vet
checks.
costs.
Right.
Mail in a gift card, we have a P.O. box.
So, all right, well, that's good. I hope that you do well with that. As a matter of fact, I have a few, I think, I'll have
Yeah, you
to-
can keep a flyer, there's all the stuff that we need.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, yeah, that's
Take
good.
a rally flyer too.
Oh, all right,
Come join us.
okay. Oh, I will, okay. Anyway, but, all right, so, does anybody have anything to add to?
Well, I would like to add, January 13th, we called it a protest. It's really more like a peaceful rally.
Oh, of
So I don't
course.
want anyone not to come out. We're
Oh, no.
very peaceful, I promise.
Oh, yeah,
Very
sure. Well,
peaceful.
you can't be anything but, otherwise,
Right.
you know, first of all, you got the police right there.
I mean, all the court officers, they love us.
We
We're
don't
so
wanna end
nice.
up there.
We're like friends with
We don't
everyone.
want to have to deal with them, right?
Nope,
No, we're not crazy.
we want to stay on the right side of the,
Of the law, right.
yeah.
I think
Of the
something
gavel.
else that we want to do too is also publicly thank the Good Samaritans who found Charlotte.
Yes.
You know, they were actually literally packing their car to go on vacation, and they heard these whimpers.
Right.
And they called Lori from the Lost and Found Pets of Staten Island, and Lori just told them, you know, follow the cries. And about an hour later, they found this black plastic bag, and they opened it, and, you
That
know,
was little Charlotte.
she wasn't moving, and her name then was Snowflake, and all of a sudden she took a breath in, and they, you know, brought her to South Shore Animal Hospital on New Dorp Lane, and, you know, from there, you know, she was preparing to go to SNAR, and then because it was an open police investigation, you know, the ASPCA took over, and she was actually named Charlotte because the Good Samaritans were on their way to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay, that's
So
why they called
that's
her
why
Charlotte.
she was-
Yeah, I would change her name too. Why leave the name that that woman gave her?
Right.
I mean, you know,
bad
she
name.
actually gave her a name. You give something a name and then you abuse it. I mean, and what kind of a person does that?
I mean, not only that, but this woman had options.
Right.
I mean, New York Animal Care and Control does have, unlike Queens where I live, there is actually a shelter in Staten Island.
I know, but you know what? They take those animals every day and bring them into Brooklyn.
Whatever they do with them, there was a place, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way,
Yeah.
but it's better than being bashed and thrown in a garbage
You're
bag.
On
and
the
absolutely
sale.
side of the
right.
railroad.
I mean, there are
So
tons of
there were
rescues
options.
and- yeah.
Reach out to rescues. Call me. I mean, call any of
Or
us.
go back to the store.
Go back to the store. There's also, when you go to a veterinarian, if you don't have enough money, it's called care credit. Most good veterinarians will review that with you. I don't believe that this was a question of money. I think this was a question of it was inconvenient.
Right.
I think there's just something wrong with this woman. Maybe she's got a chemical imbalance or something.
You
Or
don't,
maybe
I mean,
she's
she
just a
threw the dog.
psychopath.
Right.
you
You
don't
Most of them are.
allegedly throw a dog out a car window and go out and buy a new dog.
Because you
Right.
don't want to upset your daughter.
Right.
It's
It's not a
about
pair
the
of
dog.
shoes.
Right, right.
It's not a
Exactly. And
handbag,
you
a
wouldn't throw
dog
your
is not an
shoes out the
accessory.
window
No.
either.
She probably takes better care of her shoes. And
She probably does. She probably does because she's vain.
Right. Well, I have something for you. We actually have a little gift for you. It's a Team Charlotte shirt, just for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this.
Wear it on January 13th.
Yeah, you better come.
That's right. I
Yeah.
will. I will wear it all.
Now you guys are all Team
Now
Charlotte.
tell
I'm
me
sorry.
something. She looks like she's sleeping here, but just
That's when she was first found. She was just not responsive. She was temporarily
The
blind. She
bow
had
is actually, that
oxygen.
pink bow you see in her hair
yeah.
is actually the clue as to how
Right.
they found her alleged abuser. Because her picture was all over the news and in the Staten Island Advance, and the vet that the alleged abuser had taken her to saw it on the news, and his office
how she got caught.
contacted the NYPD.
I
and
would
that's
tell you,
how it
this is
became
all
a case.
divinely
So that bow
orchestrated.
is the key in this case, that pink bow.
And when we go
Wow.
to court, we always wear our pink bows in our hair.
Really?
We do.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, I'll tell you, it was meant to be that this woman got caught. It was meant to be that all of this is now coming to light and being brought to the attention of the public. It was meant to be that we're all here together tonight doing this show.
That
And-
little peanut had the strength
everyone
to
together.
survive.
Yeah,
And to
yeah.
whimper loud enough for a neighbor
Yes.
to be able to, I mean, she fits in your hand.
Well,
To
God
be able
bless
to
Charlotte.
let somebody know where she was and to bring us all together.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I think that it's time. It's time now for people to come together, fight for these animals who can't fight for themselves, and make sure that the number of animals that gets abused gets reduced down to nothing.
And it will keep our community safer too.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot safer.
Oh, sure. Sure, because if you get the animal abusers out, you get the people abusers out. You get the people that are likely to go and rob a bank or a grocery store or something. You know, all of this stuff is related. It's all connected. But in the meantime, I think that we did a good job tonight. All you ladies were excellent.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
having us.
Oh, it was my
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you.
My pleasure to have you. We'll have to, after a while, we'll have to get together again, do another show, and update everybody.
And hopefully we'll be able to say that she received the maximum
Yep.
punishment.
Yes. We'll all have to go out and celebrate
And
when
we'll have a
that
more
happens.
update on
Some
Charlotte's
champagne on
current
set.
condition.
That's right. That's good. Well, anyway, though, I want to just say thank you to you ladies for all
Thank
coming
you.
tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, it was,
Thank you.
this is my heart. I mean, these animals are my heart. And I really, really do appreciate the fact that you're out there, you're doing a job. God, like I said in the beginning of the show, I'll say it again. God bless all of you and all of the people who are out there helping animals. God bless every last one of them. Take care, everyone, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.